All right, how to control the hand that feeds you. What does that mean? I don't know. How to control the hand that feeds you. This we're going to be talking about having control over your life, all right? Making good choices. This is Ashley related. Barry's just going like this to me. This is in regards to food. To food. And you all know that maintaining a healthy nutritional status for both the patient and the caregiver is critical. Right? The two things that you do for yourself that have the greatest impact on your wellness, your sense of feeling good, looking good, energy, your sense of peace of mind, everything, the two things that play the most serious part are two things that you can control. And what are they? You got one right. For once, the answer is not attitude. This is the only question I will ever ask that the answer will not be positive attitude. So to make me happy, just say positive attitude anyway. Because yes, because I now have three things. Three things, all right? Because if you don't have a positive attitude, if you don't have a hopeful attitude, if you're not happy about yourself and with yourself, right? Then you're not going to do the two things that are going to impact how you look and how you feel. The number one is how much you move. You just heard it with Toya, all right? You can see her privately. You can come in here. We've got 5 classes a week. You have no excuse that you're not exercising, moving, and it brings not only your body up, but your mind and your spirit up, right? How do you feel when you leave Kathy Sims and Mary Massey? How do you feel after you dance?
Great.
I feel great too for you, but those bongo drums.
That's what I heard.
Huh? Do you hear the bongo drums? You need to dance. We need to dance, okay? I'm only teasing. It just.
No.
Okay, so it's how much your positive attitude. I love myself. I care about myself. My esteem is great. I want to do everything I can for myself to look and feel my best. So the first is how much you move, how much you exercise, how much you walk, how much you do for yourself, right? And the second one is your dietary, what you choose to put into your mouth. These two things are in your control, all right? If I put a plate of bonbons on that table,
Good.
what did you say?
Good.
Good, I know, I'm working it. Because nobody loves candy more than me, and I'm starting to sneak around because my staff is on a wellness kick, but I haven't had a cookie. So if I put a bonbon in your hand, all right, how does it get from your hand to your tongue? Am I saying to you, Lena, open your mouth wide because here comes a bonbon? Huh? I am not. This is control the hand that feeds you. I had the funny experience once before. I used to, for years, be a private consultant, and I would educate all different topics. You name it, I made it up and talked about it, right? So I was doing this, I don't know what I was doing, but it was for a national convention or something of dental hygienists. I don't even know what the topic was. It was a true story. So I was talking about, I guess it was the whole wellness package, and of course dietary was part of it. So I thought, well, what can I put in their hand? I made up this little exercise that I could use about how to control the hand that feeds you, right? So I thought, well, you know, I could give them those mini Snickers, and I thought, oh, I can't do that. You know, the dental hygienist, and I'm walking on jelly beans. You know, I can't do that either. They're stuck in their plates, so I couldn't do that either. So I went and I bought, you know, those little round chocolate nougat balls that come in a milk carton? Yeah. Okay. So I was doing this exercise, right? And I started over here, and there was probably 200 of them in this amphitheater. And so I started putting a little chocolate ball. You know what I'm talking about?
Whoppers.
What is that? Whoppers. They were a Whopper. That's the best I could find. So I start over here, and I put a Whopper in everybody's palm. And I neglected to say, don't eat it. And I bought like 4 cartons of Whoppers, because I never even had one in my mouth. I like the good candy. So by the time I got over here, I turned around and I said, okay, how does that Whopper get into your mouth? And this whole part, they had nothing. And they're like, what Whopper? You know, we ate it. So I never did that exercise again. It was so funny. I was feeling like a fool, you know. Where's your Whoppers? You know, well, they ate it because automatically, what? It's sweet, it's good, right? And what's the rationale between anything sweet and anything salty? Oh man, it tastes good. Why does all this good stuff taste so good? Why does all the bad stuff for you taste so good? Sugar and salt, am I right?
Right.
And think about that. And deep fried, we're in there too, all right? So you have to understand your ability to control the hand that feeds you, short of being handcuffed to the chair. So how do you do that, and why is that so important? And this is not only true with food consumption, but with everything else that you do. Okay? With absolutely everything else that you do. So how do you control your behavior and your choices and your decisions based on what is right for you? But you have the power to control what goes in your mouth. So what are you eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Are you committed to treating your body well, nourishing your body well, giving yourself the good as opposed to the bad? All right? You all know that you are what you eat. You all know my Parkinson family, my patients, that you are burning twice the carbs that I am. Your body is working hard between its tremor, the effort, you know. You're working twice as hard, you're burning twice as many carbs as I am. Okay? So it's important that you get more carbs, but they also have to be healthy carbs. What are your healthy carbs? And I do not profess to be a dietitian. That's why I got Bonnie in here if you need a private consult. What are they? Where do you get healthy carbs? Is it pasta, fruit?
Fruit, vegetables.
Fruit, vegetables,
Greens.
pasta, greens, the good stuff. The other thing too that you have to understand with food, it's an instant gratification. It's an instant happiness, is it not?
Yes.
You know?
No, sometimes it's totally unconscious.
Yeah.
Stressful eating is totally unconscious.
That's a good point.
I
It's a-
found myself eating things, not to give you too much information, but since I've been here in Florida, I've gained 35 pounds. Now, yeah.
Is there a reason?
What?
Is there a reason?
I think stress.
Okay.
I just think trying to keep a lot of balls in the air and don't, you know,
I hear
it's
you.
not Willie. Everything he's ever lost, I've caught. But I have found that it's unconscious.
Okay. The need, and I'm surprised you're one of the only other persons that I have ever heard use that analogy, because it's what I say. You know, it's not enough to keep all the balls in the air. You know what I'm saying? You're juggling. Keep all the balls in the air. It's all your responsibilities. It's all your roles. It's all of your concerns. It's all of your responsibilities. It's all of
and
life at large.
You're supposed to make it look like it's not a big deal, especially for your buddy.
See, that's exactly right. It's not enough to
That's
keep.
why I eat ice cream at 9 o'clock at night.
Oh,
Give
see,
all
I don't
your
have the
secrets
answer.
now.
I have no secrets. My life is an open book.
Yes, Mark is very transparent. But like Margaret said, it's not enough to keep all the balls in the air. You got to do it with style and grace, right? And stress is huge. You have stress on you. What is stress?
Pressure.
3 words. I taught you this before. This should be rolling off your tongue.
Attitude.
Try your last cookie. Difficulty, pressure, and strain. You got those 3 things going on, my friends, my Parkinson patients, my caregivers. It's difficult living with this disease. Through my eyes, I've got to tell you, I come to the conclusion it's the most difficult disease there is out there. You know why? Because it affects everything. It affects you physically, mentally, emotionally, and socially. What is left?
Spiritually.
Yeah,
It's just God hell a deal to do.
I go to church, but God's not interested in what I weigh.
Oh, that's a point.
You know? He doesn't care.
We need to write that down somewhere, Mark.
No.
She could take me right on track. What was I talking about? God does not care what we weigh. All right, I'm going to take that and roll with it. Please always realize, and I don't care who you are at any age, your value has, as a human being, has nothing to do with your weight on the scale. Have you got me with that? Your value as a human being has nothing to do with your weight on the scale. You are extraordinary. And I find, really, my Parkinson family is well within healthy weight. All right? You have to understand, too, you got to pay attention here because you're not as active. You're not as able to do as many things, right? You're not playing 18 holes anymore, or you can. Huh? No. All right. So you're not burning as many calories. All right. You are dealing with stress, difficulty, and we can make a list, a laundry list, as tall as this building, of the difficulties that you face every day. The pressure. What pressure do you feel from living with this disease?
Tremendous.
It's a tremendous. Come on, be honest with me.
Well, sometimes
It's constant pressure. It's constant pressure. It's constant demands. It's constant deadlines. It's constant for my caregivers. It's constantly being on. It's constantly being accountable. It's like doing private duty round the clock for the rest of your life. Am I right?
Yeah.
That,
well, you don't. Sometimes you don't even know it. They took my blood pressure the other day.
yeah.
It was 178.
Well, that's high.
Yes, it certainly is
That's high.
for me.
I got
So,
good pension.
Okay, so what is that telling you?
well,
That is telling Margot now there's something going on.
well, they
I
took care of
stress
me
it up.
right away. I had to take
They
it.
better,
Yeah.
because, you know, seniors, we can't have our pressure up here. Who knows what blood pressure is? I am flat of ideas, but if I can teach you something, I'll teach you. What is blood pressure? What is it? A very simple thing. It's how hard that heart is pumping
Yeah.
to get blood, you know, through your body from your nose to your toes, right? It's why cholesterol, why plaque in the vessels is so dangerous for you, right? And I always use the analogy because I want you to pay attention to this because we're all seniors, all right? Maintaining your cholesterol, your fats, and all that is critical. So say you go to Home Depot, all right, and you buy a brand new hose, a garden hose, right? And it's open, isn't it? Hi, Dr. Pat. It's open, all right? It's pliable. So when I turn on the nozzle over here, what shoots out the other end? 100% flow, very little pressure, all right? Now, if I got an old hose in the garden, okay, that's brittle, that won't bend, that's loaded with dirt and stones, and I turn on this nozzle, what happens? Nothing. Thank you. Dribble joy. A little more than nothing, I hope. Dribble, 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 and it's forcing so hard that pressure from that full faucet to get it through here. That's your blood pressure. So you need to know what your blood pressure is, and you need to monitor it, and you need to pay attention to it. Because usually when your pressure goes up, you know it, don't you?
I had no idea.
Thank you, Margo.
I'm sorry, I had no idea. All right? I was in the cardiologist's office.
Oh, so, okay.
And he said, it's the white coat syndrome. I said, get out of here, it is not the white coat syndrome. I'm used to white coats. this is something else.
So that she was trying to tell you that you were nervous being in the doctor's
Yeah.
office.
Yeah.
If you're terrified to go see your doctor, you're going to see the wrong doctor. Your doctor's supposed to be your friend and your
Right.
partner. So if you're terrified to go to your doctor, for heaven's sake, or if you're terrified or inhibited to openly speak to your physician about your concerns and what's going on, we got to find you a new one. It's not the way to quote anything. But another thing being said, because everything you say I can roll over. I'm on a roll over here. But Margot was at the doctor. She was monitoring her health care. This is the other thing, my seniors. We got to go. We have to do our health care. We have to go to the doctor. We have to have our checkups. Am I right? Okay. And you were lucky because some people aren't that lucky. But stress will definitely play into your escalating your blood pressure. All right. So you have difficulty. The patients, the caregivers. You have pressure. The pressure that you never get off. In other words, here's an example I use. How many of you could hold a 5-pound bag of sugar up for 10 seconds? How many of you could hold it up for 10 minutes?
I can do that.
Margaret, just sit there. How many of you could hold it up for 10 hours?
That would be,
How many of you could hold it up for 10 days? You got me? I'll explain it to you. Pressure means the longer you have it, the more difficult it is, and the odds are you're going to go down with it. All right? And the last thing with stress is strain. It puts stress and strain on your body because the human body, physically and emotionally, wants a sense of peace and balance. What we do for you, what we try to do for you with your Parkinson's disease, with your medical management, if we're doing it right, is we want this for you, right? I don't want to see peaks and valleys, on and off, periods of falling and freezing and everything. If your drugs are titrated by your neurologist, board-certified neurologist that knows what they're doing in Parkinson's, and if you're compliant with your medications, dosing and everything, we want you like this. We want this the same way for your mind. Because you're constantly during the course of the day being whacked by this disease. Am I right? So stress is huge. An automatic response to stress is what? Random eating. And random eating is not going to be Brussels sprouts. Not for me, it's not. So, you're not going to grab this food when you're stressing and you want a quick food. You want instant gratification. You want pleasure. If you're happy, you're not stressed. Okay? If you're in a state of peace and balance, you're not craving that I gotta have a Snickers. Am I right?
Right.
And I think I'm right. I don't know.
You're right.
I think am I right?
You're right.
Say it louder.
You're
I'm right.
absolutely correct.
She's a professional, so I'll take it. Okay. It's an instant gratification. It's an instant pleasure. It goes from the oral phase, right? We got 50 trillion sensory things on your tongue. So my theory is this: if it's not good for you, keep it off your tongue. Right? It's on your tongue for 5 seconds, and when it's gone, it's gone. Does that make sense? I'm a simplistic teacher. Okay. When it's gone, it's gone. It's down doing damage. Sugar, fat, salt, to your cardiac, to everything. And I'm here to tell you, because we all are sensational seniors except 2 in here today, all right? That the older we get, and isn't it wonderful to have another birthday? I think it's great to have another birthday, right? But every time we have another birthday, we're at higher risk of what? Everything that's out there, right? Cardiac, heart attack, stroke, diabetes, arthritis, da. And with every disease out there, the number one thing that's going to put you at a much higher risk is what? Obesity. All right? So just pay attention and do it for you. Do it for you. Don't do it because somebody's going to criticize the way that you look. Do it for you because you're worthy and you want to have a happy, healthy, long life. You got it? Okay. So, Is
Question,
that Willie?
is stress hereditary?
Is stress hereditary?
Not necessarily.
Well, I think your ability to handle stress, maybe there might be somewhere in your DNA or something you're predisposed to it. Stress is something that lives inside of you. Am I right? Where is stress? It's not out here. The triggers are out here, but stress lives in here. This is where it lives, right in here.
If you're living with someone that has stress, are you gonna carry some of that stress as
Oh,
well?
I see. Is it contagious?
Yeah, that's what
Sure,
it
that's
is.
Oh,
what-
contagious. Do you mean, so you're not born with stress? Babies are not born all
No.
stressed out, all right?
He wants to know.
He wants to know if he's going to catch it from you, Mark.
Actually, he gives it to me.
Okay.
Then he gets it back.
And then he gets it back. I love it. All right?
Everybody.
Where do we go with that one? I don't have any idea. All right, here's the fact. Relationships aren't easy. We stress each other, right? You know, I always figure, here's two totally different people. Right, two different ways of looking at things and thinking and then we say, okay, you're married or you're cohabitating, so get on in there and act right, and be happy with no stress and strain. I personally think, that if there's not a little bit of conflict and a little bit of color in a relationship, it's boring. But you want to keep it at a healthy level. And there's nothing wrong, and I'm going to relate this to the patient-caregiver relationship. There's nothing wrong with a caregiver saying, remember my tagline, I love you, but if you keep doing that, my stress level is off the chart, so I would like to encourage you, please, to stop doing it, okay? And vice versa. If you're one of my patients and the caregiver is on your back all the time and driving you nuts, I don't want to see a conflict. I want to see a happy, healthy, dignified relationship. But there's nothing wrong with sitting down and saying, if you scream at me from the front porch one more time, have you taken your meds, I'm going to lose it. Right?
I'm gonna lose you.
Okay, there you go. You see what I'm saying? It's all about how you choose to have the conversation. Your goal, my friends, is respect and dignity in your relationship. Your goal is to work together, my patients and caregivers, whether you're a family member, a husband and wife, brother, sister, I don't care, best friends, I don't care who you are. Your goal in any relationship is to help the other to be better and to feel better and to be happy, right? Okay, did this help you? Right. The theme is control the hand and the future, but control your thinking, control your behavior, okay? Control your choices, always in your best interest. Always in your best interest, because the key is, with this disease, you got to control the way you think. I'm going to be positive, I'm going to be empowered, I'm going to be enthusiastic. You got to control how you think, you know that, all right? Please control what goes into your mouth.